Live. And hey, Jesse, thanks for taking a little bit of time to talk to my current class of first semester students, web development students at Ranken. So you graduated from Ranken, we were saying, back in 2017. You've been out in the industry ever since. So I could try and introduce you, but I figure you could do a better job. Let's start with that. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Yeah, my name's Jesse Kosydor, 29 years old. I either graduated 2017, 2018, and I was able to get a job in the industry shortly after that. So I've been out working for 4 years, and I've been with the same company that whole time. I know a lot of people in the tech industry hop, but I like where I'm at, and I'm just happy with the way things have been going since graduating Ranken.
Cool. So you kind of told me your employer is
Daugherty Business Solutions.
nice, and your what's your job title?
So job title is consultant, but also software engineer.
And so I'm typing some notes as you go.
Okay.
And consultant software engineer, and you got a promotion, yeah? So it's SE2, I think?
Correct.
Nice. So what's it like out there in the industry? I mean, what's it like for you, like 9 to 5? Like you wake up, what's a typical day?
Typical day. So I don't know if you guys, if anyone in the class has heard, the term stand-ups, but typical day, yeah, I just get up. I have a stand-up, and it's not very. Some companies or some clients are very strict on their agile processes. Mine is not that strict, so we have stand up, what we did yesterday, any issues, blockers we might have, what we're going to be doing today, and that's in the morning. Typically, I have kind of 2 of those with different teams because I'm kind of cut between a couple different teams.
Let me ask you a question here. Let me interrupt. Sorry
Sure.
to interrupt. I had a student literally 5 minutes ago say, hey, I'm kind of interested in learning more about Agile. How much is it in the curriculum? What do we do at Ranken? And I just love that the fact that the first question I ask you, your answer is, well, I kind of start with the stand-up with Agile methodology. So could you explain that a little bit more? Like, what is this all about, this Agile methodology, and how it affects your day-to-day?
Yeah. So like I said, my particular team isn't very strict, but the major goal is, to just get your work completed, applications, whichever it may be, piece by piece. So if we're doing sprints, which is maybe some teams will do like 2-week increments, and it might vary from that, but we don't really do sprints actually. But it's all part of getting pieces out of the application or applications incrementally, so that it's not like what's another waterfall where you complete everything. You have a set number of steps. You go through those one by one, and you push out whatever technology you're trying to get out to the company or other users.
Cool.
That's a little bit of what we do. So
well, thanks for letting me interrupt. I just thought it was
it
was just really timely, I guess, is that I got the question and then you're talking about Agile, and I don't remember how much of it was in the curriculum back when you were a student, but we've certainly adopted quite a bit now. So
perfect.
We do teach a little bit more Agile development and sprints and stand-ups and waterfall and the Agile manifesto, if you will, than we used to. But I interrupted, so you're 9 to 5 and you left off. You talked about, you wake up, you've got your morning stand-up.
Yeah, so morning stand-ups. Mostly now, I'm just working with a lot of different people and a lot of different things. So recently, where I'm at, we actually do a lot of cloud work. So I work a lot with AWS, doing a lot of migrations of applications, but also other, I guess still applications that are in different accounts and moving them to new AWS accounts. and then a lot of work on just other applications. So a lot of it's been internal, nothing that's external out to, outside of Bayer, which is my client that I'm with right now.
So you're at Bayer in St. Louis.
Yes.
And I see you're at home. So how many days are you like in the office at Bayer, and how many days are you working from home roughly?
Roughly, actually, for the past 2+ years, I've been strictly working from home.
Wow.
Ever since the pandemic hit, I've been home, and our actual on the Bayer side, on the client side, our couldn't really give you his exact role title, but someone very high up actually doesn't want us to come back into the office. So until he leaves or is replaced, probably working from home indefinitely, or if I move clients.
Yeah, nice. So what languages on the job do you primarily work with?
Let's see. So, I mean, you guys, like you said, Mr. G, it looks like you're just working with HTML right now, and some of the, I guess, legacy applications, just some basic HTML, CSS. I've been doing that, so that is still very relevant, important. I've been working with some Golang. I've done some Node.js work, a lot of different stuff, actually. Not recently, but when I first joined Bayer, I did some Java development.
So let me get the list. Golang, I heard Node,
Yes.
Java,
Yeah. I've actually done a lot of Bash scripting.
Bash. Nice.
Yeah. Let's see what else is there, and then just React. I've actually done some React here recently.
Very nice, very nice. So give you an update on our curriculum. We have the full MERN stack, if you will. So Mongo, Node, Express, React, and then we also still do the .NET stack. So we teach both.
Okay.
MERN and C#.NET. So that's just an update on what we've been doing. So, you've been out there for 4 or 5 years. Do you have any cool software projects that kind of stick out of your mind? Something you really enjoyed working on, or something that was just, heavily used that you enjoyed, a little bit more than the rest?
Yeah. So when I first started, and I didn't do much development on it, but there's this tool called Presto. It's actually been rebranded as Trino. I don't know if you've heard of it, Mr. G, or if anyone in there has. It's a query engine that allows for connection across multiple data sources. So if you and you can query them throughout the whole process. So if you have something in a MySQL database and it's being moved to Postgres, you can kind of see the changes as it goes along, and you can use Presto as the one source, so you can use that to query both databases. Yeah, and I worked on some custom development for that. Not too much, because the code base is actually very sophisticated, and I would go as far as saying someone at my level probably, and I had a hard time, but I worked through it, day by day. And the reason I like that is not necessarily because of the development, but it's just I got to work with many different teams, many different people. I like supporting people, and that's kind of what I did with that application. I added some improvements, and I got to help other people get onboarded with that application, with the UI that it uses, Superset, and I still do that. So I've been off that team for a year plus, and I'm kind of just now starting to migrate those responsibilities to other team members. But I just liked
Nice.
how multiple teams it touches and helping those people.
Very cool. Very cool. So, you came through Ranken back in 2015-ish. And so why did you choose to get into this industry?
Well, it was kind of by chance, So I had been working a lot of laborious jobs, warehouses. I worked at Lowe's and stuff like that, and I had some friends who were very lightly in development, and it interests me, and I was actually going to go on like the networking side. And then I was like taking my tour of Ranken and speaking to different instructors, and I actually met uh, gosh, I'm blanking on his name now. I feel so bad. Mr. Lutz.
Mm-hmm.
I actually saw him in the which he may not be there now. I don't think he is. But I saw him in the hall, and I was like, hey, I didn't know he was an instructor actually, and I just spoke with him, and he spoke very highly of what he was doing and how much fun he had, and yeah, it just completely swayed me. So I was like, all right, I'll give this a go and see how it goes, and I'm extremely glad I did.
Nice, very cool. Because now you've got a successful budding career,
Yeah, it's been great.
and that's very cool. So you've graduated from Rankin. So I showed you my class earlier. All first or second semester students, and what tips would you give these relatively newer students to Rankin to be successful? Like, what guidance would you give to be successful at Rankin and get your foot in the industry?
I think, and I thought about this. I was prepared. If you asked this question, I would answer it this way right now. And that's not even, the answer is not development related. It is communication related. So it just talk to anyone you can. I can't say that I'm the most social person, but I had one conversation with someone I went to school with, Griffin Toll. I had one conversation with him, and that one conversation got my foot into Daugherty. And so not only is like communicating with your classmates important on just like networking and the social side, but if you can communicate well at your employer, with your client, whoever you work for, you'll probably succeed. I don't think that I'm the strongest developer, but I have pretty good communication skills, and that's helped me get help. That's helped me, push forward whenever I'm having trouble. Just having people, if you can communicate well what you need help with, or just on a social side, and you have people who have your back, you'll do so well. And like I said, just one conversation got me my job, I would say, because that led to, hey, he reached out to someone else he knew, and they said, yeah, we can try to get you a job here. You just need to do these things, and I did those, and I ended up going through a couple interviews and getting my job here. So yes, obviously, you're in the tech industry. If you're trying to do programming, try to improve those skills as much as you can, but just communicate well, and I think you'll succeed.
So, communicate well. Now, what do you do to like get out of the box of if you're shy, if you're introverted? Like you said, I don't think you said that you were shy, but you said you weren't the most open person or something to that extent. What do you do to push those boundaries?
I guess on my side of things, I guess it does just come down to the different pieces that you have to work with for the different applications, and just the pieces, everyday pieces of your work. So I know. Let me back up here. I know my weaknesses, and so I know what I need help with, and reaching out to individuals. I mean, you're going to need help, so reaching out to the correct people gets that started. And I think just in the classroom setting, I think that even works there as well. If you know what you're weak with, reach out to those can help you. And you're all there to learn, so you express some interest in what you're doing. So just talk about the new stuff that you could be working with. Talk about how much fun you had with a lab or something like that. And I think those conversations will flow pretty organically.
So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying is basically kind of in your current role, it's need based. Like I need to solve this problem, so I need to talk to somebody to begin to solve this problem, kind of thing.
And that's where it starts.
Yeah.
And everything after that, is probably going to be more personal rather than professional.
Yeah. So if you have a problem you don't know how to solve it, it's being comfortable enough to initiate that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you went through Ranken's curriculum. Granted, it's been 5 years, so it's changed a lot. But what curriculum worked well for you, and what curriculum didn't really you didn't use, or is not useful?
I would say Java was useful for the beginning work that I did. Actually, since I've been with Bayer so long, I kind of think strictly in Bayer terms. But my first two engagements, my first two clients, I actually used C#.net. So those were both really helpful. Like I said, HTML, CSS. I mean, I work with that now using React, but even on like legacy applications, we use this tool called MediaWiki, which I think what Wikipedia is built on, and that's extremely helpful there. I'm really trying to think of something that wasn't helpful. I would say, the difficulty is going to be more challenging when you're out in the workforce, but all of it was helpful. I mean, I can't think of anything that wasn't.
Okay.
Maybe it sounds like now you might be using more like JavaScript libraries, but maybe if we had more of that, that would have been nice. But it sounds like, you have that now.
Yeah, we definitely do. So, okay, well, thanks. It's always good to know. You've been doing this for 5 years, and it might be hard for you to say, but do you see yourself doing this like until retirement, or maybe changing it up at some point down the road?
Yes. Let's see. So I don't know that I want to do exactly what I'm doing now. I think so I'm more of in a development role. I think software and engineer role. I think I'd like to do more like data analysis as I move forward, which is still within the realm that
Under
I'm
the
here,
umbrella,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, under the umbrella. But like actual software development, I don't know that I want to do this for till retirement or for X amount of years. I think I'd like to make that shift, and there are opportunities for that. So within my company. So if you start somewhere, I think. Yeah, and it may depend more on your company. I might be kind of biased here, but there are those opportunities to shift within the umbrella if you choose to do so.
Very nice. What do you see out there in the industry right now in St. Louis regards to salary? I mean, what are companies generally paying? Is it a competitive market? Is it too many jobs, not enough jobs? What do you see out there?
Competitive, definitely. Like I said, I've been getting, there's always been market adjustments, and that's based off of the other competitive, at least in the consulting line of business. So there's been market adjustments for how competitive that has been. I don't think that there's a shortage of jobs. I know we're constantly hiring. That's when we have our larger like all hands type meetings. That's a point of pride. We've got X amount of hires here, and it's also we're not just located in St. Louis. There are other centers, across the country. So I was hiring there as well. So yeah, I don't think there's a shortage. Very competitive pay, and it's a great time for St. Louis, to be in the industry. It's growing. It's also very small. I mean, it is growing, but like everybody, I think, knows everybody here in St. Louis. So if you can get your foot in the door somewhere, then you can get your foot in the door other places as well if you're ready to move.
I'm gonna kind of off the cuff question: what can Ranken do to have Daugherty hire more Ranken grads?
That's a good question.
Because there's no shortage. By the way, you are one of maybe 20 alumni at least that have gone to work for Daugherty. So there's no shortage of Ranken grads at Daugherty. Yeah. But Daugherty is the premier employer in St. Louis. I mean, if there's one employer that most of my students say, I want to go work for them, that's who it is. And again, many alumni have ended up there, such as yourself. But I want more. So how can we make that happen?
Like I said, I think, and this might be the more difficult one, but if you can improve on, I think your students' communication skills, being open, being honest. Part of why I got hired was because I don't know that. I don't know that question, and just being able to say that, but I'll try to find the answer. If you, like I said, if you know your weaknesses, if you can communicate those in the right way, I think that'll really help. On the technical side, I don't know. I would say that probably have to be curriculum. But if you're working with React, Bayer's a huge React company.
These students are in their first semester and they will be building a React app that at the end of the semester does local storage, CRUD operations on local storage.
Yeah.
So they'll be making a library and keeping track of book rentals and that kind of jazz. Okay. So that's React within the first semester and then again in their third. So we hit React pretty hard.
I mean, that's a great addition. I think it's something else, You have the agile pieces. I don't know. I know it's not much input from my end, but
I appreciate it. And I guess as you have, and I'll just start saying this to all my graduates, as you have entry level hiring needs, if you'd always keep keep me in the back of your mind, feel free to reach out because I'd love to help out these current students. Find some really good entry level opportunity. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open it up to the class now for questions for Jesse. Sure. Again, he's a software engineer too with about 5 years experience at a really good employer in St. Louis. Really, well, I believe one of the largest, if not the largest employer for software developers is Daugherty Business Solutions. They do come to our job fairs. So what questions do we have from the class? Yes.
What other languages is he now? Because Angular has been pretty popular.
You ever dabble with Angular, or what other languages are you familiar with?
So Angular was actually popular in my first two clients. I think you'll see a lot of client favoritism. But once I shifted to Bayer, it's a lot of React, and I think that might be the premier front end library that's used. I think, one of the main things that I've worked with is just like scripting. And I know I mentioned I did a lot of bash scripting. And I honestly, I can't tell you, maybe PowerShell scripting. If you can get comfortable with command line commands and scripting through the command line, I think that's actually a huge bonus. A lot of people think, these, React, JavaScript, when you're writing code, that's what you think of. But if you can get, hands-on with scripting, that is extremely helpful because you're always going to be working with files. If you're working with cloud, you do a lot of directory and just file management. So that's been huge for me. I think just, talking about this right now, if that's somehow included maybe in the curriculum or if you're going to do it on your own personal time, I don't know where you'd find some examples or anything like that. But I would say try to dabble in that area if you have the time. I think that's been really helpful for me and possibly for any one of you guys who graduate.
Cool. What other questions from the class? We just had one of these interviews on Friday, so I normally don't back-to-back them like this, but it's just timing worked out. So,
Yeah.
Steven?
How much did you work on your portfolio while you were attending Ranken?
How much did you work on your portfolio while you were a student?
While I was a student, if I'm being honest, I didn't work on it too much. I think I had some classmates who had examples of things and kind of picked their brain, and so I didn't work on it too much. But it was extremely helpful getting my job because I was able to. In my first round of interviews, I was able to show that. And actually, I don't know how much they looked at it, but my website that I built, for my client through Ranken, I actually put that on my resume. And that's one of those things that just led to the conversations inside my interview where I could say, yeah, I did this, or maybe it spurred a question in their mind for me. And whether I was able to answer that question or be honest and say, like, I don't know about that particular piece. It really helped the conversations in the interview, and I think ultimately helped me get my job. So I don't want you to hear like, oh, he barely worked on his portfolio and look what happened. But I would work on that. If you're not going to work on it much, make it look nice and have clear examples inside it because that's what worked for me.
So you did have some project-based work that
Yes.
you had as a demonstration on your portfolio, and you think that helped in helping you get that job.
Yep. I went through basically 4 interviews, and that's in my first one, I think that's what helped me lead to second, third, fourth.
There's a lot of IT certifications out there. Have you ever pursued or been asked to pursue any of them? Even with the AWS stuff, there's like real entry-level foundations.
Yeah. I haven't been asked necessarily, but always encouraged. So a lot of I don't have them right now, but like what's it called? AWS
The foundations, right?
found it. I don't know if you're speaking to one specifically. I don't know if I heard that one, but yeah, but foundational.
Well, there's a developer
certifications.
track on the AWS curriculum, so you could go deeper, but it always starts with this class called the foundations. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Cloud practitioner. Sorry, AWS
Yeah.
cloud practitioner. Those
Yeah.
sorts of things
Yeah.
have been highly recommended, and actually now GCP, Azure, all cloud, because you're going to run into clients that have multi-cloud architectures.
Cool. Other questions from the class? Yes.
Do you get like frequent breaks, or is it like stressful most of the time?
During the day, do you take many breaks, or how does that look?
Again, I'll kind of say it's probably client-based, but we actually go through trainings, e-learning trainings where, say for every hour, take 15 minutes. I get an hour lunch, and honestly, you can probably kind of choose, the length, as long as you get your work done. So, I take a good amount of breaks, but I also have to get my work done. So,
Yep.
if you can get your work done, while taking your breaks, you'll be fine. So every hour, 15 minutes, hour-long break. It's nice.
How stressful do you find the industry? Like 1 to 10, 10 being the most stressful.
So that varies. I would give it. Just go the easy answer here and say 5. So sometimes it is very relaxed, but then other times, if you have deadlines, or you're having difficulty with a particular piece of your work, and you're kind of, maybe you don't have anybody around you who has experience in that either. It's fresh. You have users saying, hey, I want this. And sure, we can do that, but it's extremely difficult. That's when it's stressful, but it's also fun. So with anything that's going to be difficult, you're also going to have to find some fun in it, and I think that helps with the times where it is stressful. So don't let it deter you. If you're having trouble throughout your course, throughout your classes, and you're like, this is difficult. I thought the same thing, but I also had fun with it, and it's the same thing out in the industry. It kind of is what you make of it.
I like the answer. Good answer. Any other questions? Please ask.
How are like training? Is it like a lot of hand holding, or is it kind of thrust into it and you're like, oh, college can do this type of training?
So how does training go, generally speaking? Like, you're going to learn a new language and your employer wants you to learn it. How's that go?
So a lot of your employers will probably have accounts that you can register with. Pluralsight. It was like Safari, but maybe O'Reilly Learning. So you'll have options for online learning that your employer has, account set up for you, and you can go through. So say, your client wants you to learn Golang, which is kind of what happened for me. There's online training, and then there's also going to be, probably examples within your employer that you can learn from. So, unfortunately, a lot of it will be you'll have to learn hands-on, while you're working and get up to speed that way. But you do have outlets to learn, like I said, whether it be online learning or examples throughout the company. And yeah, I would say you're given an amount of time to kind of get up to speed with whatever it is. And a lot of, when you start to actually develop with, other backend or anything really, you'll see similarities between language to language, and that helps. So the more experience you get elsewhere, the easier it is to get up to speed with new things or different things.
Answer your question? Yep, great.
Yeah, and if you don't think I'm answering your questions, please let me know, and I'll try to expand a little bit more.
No, you got it. I just wanted, sometimes I didn't know if you could hear, so I'm repeating the questions to make sure I'm asking the questions that they're asking too. Yeah.
So the employers never sent you to like a specialized school?
You never went to a physical school? It was always online learning?
Yeah, the only thing that was kind of specialized was there was a major shift, and we started to use like Google Cloud a little bit more. And so our company actually brought in like a Google Cloud consultant, and for a whole week, that was what we did. We just went through this particular consultant's trainings and different examples of what GCP had to offer. So yeah, that was like the one formalized type training where the client just completely, at least for our team, and there wasn't anything crazy going on elsewhere. We had the whole week to just learn there, but it was still in office on a Teams meeting.
What percentage of your week is in meetings versus what percentage is spent writing code?
Oh man. Take a quick look here.
Roughly. I mean, just roughly.
Yeah, roughly. Writing code, if we're having an 8-hour day, is probably, and it'll vary, but I would say half the day is meetings, half the day is writing code. So, 4 and 4.
Okay.
And again, that'll vary, but yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Awesome. Any last questions? Jesse, I don't know that I've seen you since you graduated, so I just want to take a moment and, first off, thank you. It was good to see you.
Yeah.
You
see
know,
too.
thanks for talking to my class. Super happy for you and your success, and that's awesome. That's what Ranken is supposed to do for people. Is they're supposed to set them up to enter the workforce, such as you've demonstrated, and have successful careers. So thanks for taking the time to talk to my students, and nice to see you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And even though I haven't talked to you in some years, I really just hope that we can stay in touch and continue to help each other out.
Yeah. Like you said, if there's any opportunity for me to, reach out to Rankin for any new employees or anything like that, I'll think about that. And in the future, if you have newer classes and you'd like for me to hop in again, I'd be happy to do so. So
Very cool. Very cool.
Just keep in contact, and I'll try to do the same.
I saw one hand go up.
Oh, I was interested, like, what type of projects, like more detail of the project that he does.
So when it comes to the projects that you work on, the software projects, generally speaking, are they mobile apps? Are they web apps? Like what kind of software are you building?
So I haven't done any mobile. There are clients that do mobile, but I haven't been a part of one of those yet. A lot of them have just been it's like internal applications. So right now we have we've had different. There's been a rules engine within our company, and right now I'm building an application that reads out the rules. It can display information about that rule, and that's written in Golang, and the front end is React. So basically just putting a face to a tool that's been used but never had like a website to use it with. Let's see, what's another one? I mean, if I'm being honest, that's kind of the major, visual has a UI application I've worked on. Like I said, I've done a lot of scripting and different things like that. But I don't know if that really answers your question.
I think so. Student confirms. All right, man. Hey, thanks so much. I just want to say thanks again. And, I hope if you're ever, in the area of the Ranken campus, you stop in and say hello and, grab lunch or something.
Yeah, that sounds great. And thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, man. Take care. Have a good day.
Yep. See you, everybody. Take care.
All right.